Are we live? Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Yogesh. Good evening, Nikhil. Good evening, Ashit. Is my audio and video okay? Good evening, Avinash. Is my audio and video okay? Yes? Awesome. Okay, okay. Today we are going to learn or create a very, very interesting project called Google Meets, right? Or an oversimplified version of Google Meet. For those who don't know about Google Meet is an application or a website where many people can come, create a meeting, talk to each other, right? They can discuss each other live, they can have their meeting and things like those. So today we would just have, we would just create a meet link, right? There would be a link with which multiple people can join into the meeting, right? When a person joins into the meet, the browser will ask for your video and microphone permission, right? And multiple people can join in the single meet. The UI would look something like this: person one, person two, person three, and at the bottom we will have a footer where we would have, say, suppose invite people or leave meeting, invite people, right? And whenever a person is there on the meet link, they will ask its name and it will get populated over here, right? So we will have a leave functionality, we will have an invite functionality, and we will have a link in which multiple people can join in. Is the requirement clear to everybody? I hope the requirement is clear. I hope you guys have used Google Meet before, right? It is just a link where multiple people can communicate to each other with audio or video or both, right? So I can turn on my audio and video, and ABC can see my video, XYZ can see my video, things like those, right? It uses something called WebRTC. Just like sockets, WebRTC is for media files. Okay, socket is for small things, for example, text or JSON or some textual media, right? WebRTC is for audio, stream, video, right? Any media. They both work the same, right? In WebRTC, we have something called peer-to-peer connection. Peer-to-peer connection means that uh, if suppose ABC and XYZ are talking to each other, the ABC video is directly sent to XYZ, and XYZ audio and video is directly sent to ABC without a server. Okay? Just like WhatsApp is peer-to-peer, uh, right? It uses peer-to-peer communication. That is, your message is directly sent to the person. Their message is directly sent to you without the intervention of a server, right? It is not stored anywhere. Okay. To do this, we have peer.js library, right? Just like for everything, we have peer.js library. If you simply search for peer.js now, you will find its documentation. Simply go over here, and the documentation is very, very straightforward. You just have to include a script, right? Create a new object, pass in some parameters just like we have been doing. Do peer.connect, right? And whenever it is open, you do something. Whenever it also has dot on just like sockets, right? It is also event based thing, so it also has dot on. Whenever you have a connection, whenever you are getting a data, then you can utilize the connection, then you can utilize the data and things like those. For example, if you want to make a call, which we are going to do today, we need navigator dot use media or navigator dot webkit, right? Navigator, where it is coming from? It is coming from your window object, right? So in any of the page, if you come to inspect element, go to console. Let me zoom it out for you and write navigator or window.navigator. You will get this object which has the information of whatever devices I'm using. Right now, my app code name is Mozilla, the app name is Netscape. I am using iOS, right? If I want to use Bluetooth, if I have clipboard enabled, if I have connection, if I have cookie enabled or not, what is the device memory and things like those. So Navigator mostly has all your device information. Whatever device information you require, you get it from Navigator, right? So in this, you have something called get user media. When you call this get user media with video true and audio true, it will ask permission if you have not given permission to this website already. It will ask the permission from you whether you want to give permission of video and audio to the website or not, right? And you get a stream. This stream contains bits and pieces of your uh, life or the video that you are creating, right? Now you have to call peer.call to the another person ID with the stream, okay? And when you get a stream, you do something, right? So first of all, you have to get user media. You will get a stream from it, which will contain your audio and video, right? And you call this peer.call to whoever you want to send this audio streams to. And if you want to receive it, you have call.on stream, right? If you want to answer any call, you have call.answer with the stream. Okay? Any doubts still here? Again, simply get install the package, create a new object, call its .on, .emit, .call, right? .call, .on, simply just like sockets. Sockets is for text, WebRTC is for media. Are there any doubts till here? Are there any doubts? Clear? Awesome. Awesome. We are using peer.js. Okay? Remember that. Peer.js means there is no server involved. It just becomes a medium of transferring the data to whoever you want to send it. Right? It needs this. another PHS ID, right? You cannot get it from the server. So let me just start with the code and get into details. Which technology is used to create this? The name of the technology is called WebRTC. Laksh. Okay. So, Acha, one more thing. Uh, there is something called EJS. Okay, this also I wanted to cover today along with WebRTC. EJS is basically HTML where you can have some variables. Normally, you simply serve the HTML, right? What if you want to put some variables from your server? Yes, it is a templating engine. Basically, it is an HTML where you can put some values from the server itself. Okay, we will need Express as always. We will need ngrok, but I will not cover ngrok today. Ngrok would be your THA, right? I will do everything in localhost today. You have to implement ngrok so that you can create a public URL with the meeting link and you can share among your group members and talk to each other, right? So ngrok would be your THA. We would require peer library. We would require socket.io to create a closed room, right? And we would require UUID. UUID basically generate a random text. Okay, let's get started. First of all, let us create our server. In server, it's not very tricky anything, right? Simply have the Express server. Okay, have a port. I am hard coding these, but you should never hard code any values, right? You can have a different JS file for these values, or if they are settings type of thing, you should put it in environment.js. Sorry, .env file, right? And listen to this. We have to create a HTTP server because we are going to use socket and we are going to use WebRTC. So we need an HTTP server, not just any server. And we require server dot listen to the port. Yes, Harsh, you can use any package to create random IDs. UUID is the most famous one, right? Um, if we are talking about UUID, let's have the UUID also. Constant, we need the v4 of the UUID, UUID v4 equal to require from UUID, right? Now we need sockets to create the rooms. Constant IO equal to require socket.io and pass in the server that we have created, right? Similarly, we would require peer.js. In peer.js, we need express peer server. I hope this font is visible. Do you want me to zoom? Is it visible to you guys? We need ExpressPS server. Uh, we are going to create a URL. So we also require URL. Okay, just a little. Okay, is it visible now? Right. Now, simply we need to create the PS server. People who are viewing this lecture from phone should not do that. At least respect the course and view it in your laptop. Right. For development purpose, we put debug as true. Simply we uh, get express peer server from peer package. We call it, we call the function, we pass in the server and the options as debug true, right? We would also require path. So let's have path. Now we need to define our middlewares, right? We are going to use EJS files, right? So to use EJS files or to use viewing engine, you have to set app.set view engine to EJS, right? Node.js will understand that, okay, you are going to use EJS as your view engine. It will put in the variables that you are using and create the HTML out of it, right? Let's also have the HTML files which do not require any external variable. Path.join dir name. That this dir name means the current location of this file, right? Inside that, I would put it in, let's say, static folder. Let us also create a static folder. Hmm, Okay. And now to use PRJS, just simply put in the middleware and on which URL you want your PRJS to behave, right? So I create a middleware with PRJS. What does this mean? This means that any URL starting with /PRJS should call this function. Inside this, we simply call our PRJS server, which is calling the express peer server with the server and this, right? So again, to use PRJS, simply three lines. First, get the express peer server from peer. Second, call the express peer server. Third, put in the middleware. This is the only requirement on the server side of the PRJS. Right now, first let's create a get call to slash, which will render our HTML, the initial HTML. Okay, it will have request, it will have response, and it will do response dot send file path dot join the current directory name, then static then index.html, right? Uh, Now what I want to do is I want to create an API where people can get the URL. So I will create app.get slash join, again request and response. It should redirect response.redirect to the URL, right? To the URL with the UUID. So URL dot format, the path name of this URL would be slash join slash any specific ID, the meeting ID, right? This is how you join a meeting. You have a slash join with the specific meeting ID. Hmm. Right? So if a person is coming at slash join, it should redirect to the any specific meeting ID, right? It will create a meeting for them. And with the query of request.query. So whatever is coming in the request.query slash join should also be a part of this URL. Okay, I hope there are no doubts still here. We simply have uh, pushed down the index.html file, rendered the index.html file, and we have created a initial slash join, which will create a URL with a specific random UUID, and it will redirect the person to that specific uh, meeting. I hope there are no doubts. Now, if say you have the UUID, you have the meeting link, then what should we do? We should redirect to the meeting link directly, right? So response dot redirect again with URL dot format. Your path name would be whatever the meeting ID is coming in the request dot params. Request dot params dot meeting ID, right? And the query would be request dot query. Cool. So we have created, we have redirect whenever there is a new meeting. If you already have a URL, if you already have the meeting ID, we should redirect to that meeting ID, right? Now we have to create when joining the room. For that, we need app.get slash join slash some room, right? We have request, we have response in the callback. Now, in this, we will render the exact room EJS file, right? So we will use response.render the EJS file. We will create an EJS file with the name of room, right? and we will require a room ID in this, which would come from request.params dot rooms. Yes, there should be a meeting ID over here. Yes, thank you. Hmm. And the name of the person. So I have a variable, my name, right? This would come from request.query dot name. Okay. So what I have done, I again have to render a room.ejs file or room.html file where these are the variables that I want to pass. There would be a variable named room ID, which would get the room ID from here, right? And there would be the name of the person who is joining the room. Okay. At last, let's create some rooms, some socket rooms. So on connection, we will get socket in the callback. Okay. Now socket dot on, we will have a join room. We will emit a join room from front end, right? Which will have room ID, the ID, and the name. Okay. And when this join room comes, we should join the room. So socket dot join the room ID. Okay. So a person should not join any other room by default, right? It should, if I am logging in, I should join the room ID on which I am connected to. Then socket dot to room ID dot broadcast dot emit. I should emit user connected. We have already covered this in the last class, right? With the ID and my name, right? And we should also have socket.on tell name, where it will input your name when it first comes. It will have my name, right? And we will again do broadcast. Room ID will come from above, and we should broadcast add name so that other UI adds the new user, right? It will not have ID, it should only have my name. And at last, we would have socket.on disconnect. What should we do on disconnect? We should simply have the broadcast that the user disconnected. with the ID of the user. Right. This is all that you require on the server side. We have already covered most of the things, so I did not go into more details. Simply, we have our socket IO, we have our PRGS, we have our URL. We called express PS server. We put in the server and we put in debug as true. Right? We are going to use EJS to do that. We should set view engine to EJS. Okay. We would have the HTML file for the public thing. So we should get it, we should store it in static folder. Then we should use the PS server middleware at /PRGS. Right? This is all that is required on the server side from PRGS. This is just an intermediate where a request would come and it will broadcast to the other persons. Okay, then we will have to render index.html when we hit slash. When we hit slash join, we should create a new meeting link and send redirect to that meeting link. Okay. If we have an old meeting link, then we can simply go to slash join old with the meeting ID and it will redirect you to that meeting ID. Right? If you have a room already created, you should get it from slash join slash room. Right? Over here, it would render the main thing where your multiple names, etc., are getting created. We will create it in EJS with a room.ejs file, right? Let me create EJS. It should be inside views folder. You cannot change the name of this, right? Inside that, we will have room.ejs. Okay. Let me just copy the content of room.ejs from somewhere. It is normal HTML, so I'm not going deep into it. I will tell you what is different. So in EJS, see, this is a normal HTML file. You have the doc type, you have the HTML, you have the head, you have the meta tags, you have the title, you have the links, right? Over here, we are using socket. And I don't know why it is twice. Anyways, we are using Font Awesome, we are using Bootstrap, we are using jQuery, right? And we are using PRJS. Okay. Now, I was passing two things, room ID and my name, into this room.ejs, correct? Where would it go? So over here, you have to put a script where you get the variable name. To get the variable name value over here, you have to print something like this. Less than sign percentile equal to the variable name, then percentile and greater than sign. Okay, this is what EGS does is whenever it is getting rendered, it will check for all these patterns, right? And it will replace this to whatever the value of the variable is, right? So if I have to use a room ID, I have to use it like this. Okay, I can put them into a variable so I can directly use it anywhere. You can also use it in your HTML itself. Wherever you put something like this now, it will convert it into the EGS variable and put the value over here. Okay, there is. What all is here? We have the EGS values. right? We have the invite people, we have the room ID showing up, okay? We have the close and the copy. It should be inside a dialog, right? Where the room ID shows up. You can either close the dialog or copy the meeting URL, right? Then inside here, you have the mute button. You have the stop the video button. You have the invite button, which will copy the invite URL to you. You will have the participants, right? Whoever is joining the meeting. You have the leave meeting button, and at the last, we will have public slash main.js. Okay, where is this coming from? Our server is on the port of 3030, right? Inside that, we have set up the public, and inside that, we will have main.js. In this example, understand this, the folder name is static, but we are serving it on slash public. Okay, so if you write this URL, it means that if there is a file with main.js, it will get served, it will get downloaded over here. Okay, again, what all we did on the server side, we set up our room.js, we set up our peer with express peer server, we call this express peer server with the server and debug true just for the environment, right? We set up our view engine as EJS. We served our HTML and JS with slash public, right? And we have a middleware on slash peer.js, right? We need, whenever a person comes to slash, we need to serve index.html. Whenever a person comes to slash join, we need to create a new meeting and redirect him to that meeting link slash join slash the room ID. If there is an old room, then you need join old and the meeting ID. Whenever we have API get call on join slash rooms, we have to render this EJS with the room ID and the name. How come we are serving a static folder through public URI? Okay. Whenever you are creating a middleware, the first parameter, what does it say? That whenever an API call comes on slash public, call this function, correct? Whenever an API call comes to slash public, call this function. And in this function, what we are saying, to serve the static folder inside public. Cool, right? Now we were rendering EJS with slash rooms slash join slash rooms, right? With room ID and my name. We are capturing those values over here like this, my name and room ID. And we have our socket logic that we have already discussed in our previous lectures. Socket.on, whenever we have the connection, whenever we get a join room, join that specific room to that specific ID and emit everybody that a new user is connected with this ID and this name, right? Uh, if you have, if the front end is emitting tel name, it will broadcast everybody to add a name. So suppose I am joining to a new meeting, everybody should see my name, right? There should be a new box with my name on it. So This broadcast my name to every other person in the meeting. And if we disconnect, we should broadcast user disconnected. Right? I hope there is no doubts in till here. Tell name should emit before joining. These are all ons. Here, it does not matter if I write this above this. It depends on what how I am emitting. Right. There are no doubts. Everything is clear till here. Everything is clear. Let's have our index.html. Let me copy that content as well. All this code you can find in the Devsnest GitHub account. The link is in the description. Right. Over here in the index.html, what we have, we simply, whenever a user enters, we simply ask him to enter his name and we call in the join meeting button, right? We we make the API call to /join. If we will have a button uh, called host meeting, if the person is already sorry join meeting, if a person clicks on this form will show up, where if it already have a meeting ID, so it should enter his name and the meeting ID. The API call will go to /join hold. Okay, uh, right. This is all we have, and uh, there is a toggle of both the firms. Okay, if I start the server, acha, one thing more, in package.json, we have our start, which will start our server.js, right? We also need to have a different server for peer.js. Okay, so we will have a different script called start peer, and we will have peer.js with the port. So we require two server for this. One is for peer.js, one is for our own code. Okay, so we will require two things. One is npm run start peer. It will start the peer server at port 8001. And the other, to start our own server, we will have npm start to start our own server on 3030. Okay. Now if we come over here and put in localhost 3030, we have our forms, right? To hide and show, let me just copy the CSS also. Style.css or styles.css. Okay, let me just copy paste both of them. Let's create a new file, style.css. Let's copy the whole content. I'm not going into CSS for this. You can get the code from the GitHub URL that is attached over here. And styles.css. Let's copy this as well. put it in styles.css, put this and refresh the server. Where is the server? Over here. Right. Okay. We enter our name, we host a meeting. If we already have it, we have join meeting. We enter our name, we enter the meeting ID. Okay. This will call the slash join. This is how the URL looks. Okay. Mute, stop video, invite participants, leave meeting. We have these 5 things. Two different CSS files. I made it by mistake. Maybe some experiment I would have been doing. I forgot which one to use, so I've copied both of them. Right now comes the main part. Yes, so it looks very close to Google Meet. Over here, see, you have the meetings. Now we just have to display some boxes over here which will have the video of the participants, or if the video is not on, it will show the name of the participants. Right? We have already put it in your here. If your this thing PHS works, this will work. Right? I hope there are no doubts still here. Is it getting too complicated? This is with PHS. Is this getting too complicated? Okay. Okay. So if it is getting too complicated, let me create the front-end JavaScript in the next lecture. Let me cover the front-end JavaScript in the next lecture. By the time, please revisit this code. You can find it in the description below, and revisit the video. Right? You will have one more day because the next part is the front-end part, which mostly handles the PRJS connection. It will be even more tricky. So the thing is, let me just run a working demo for you so that you guys understand. Okay, so over here, my name should be shown, my video should be shown, right? I can stop the video, I can mute my voice, and I can invite people. I have this copy button which will copy this meeting invite with the URL, right? If I go to some other browser and come to this meeting, again, see, I got the invite people where I can copy and I close, right? See, there are two people now in the meeting. I can leave the meeting. Over here also, I got two people. I can leave the meeting. I can see the participants, right? I can stop video. I can stop mute, right? See, over here, the first person has stopped the video and is not speaking right now, right? So this is the project. If I open another, uh, one second. See, in this browser, I have not given any permissions, so I have to allow or block them. I can again copy and close, right? Because same person is using the meeting. That is why your name is not getting asked. Right now, three people have joined the link. Okay. If I leave the meeting, it goes to reset, right? Other person will see that people have left the meeting, right? Now a single person is over here. Acha, you guys were also listening to the echo or what? Sorry for that. Echo was because I have joined the same meeting myself. So that was the reason for echo. Okay, so we have created a server. Let me just revise the server for you. We require PRJS, we require socket. Okay, okay. You guys should not hear the echo. Chalo, anyways. Let me revise the server for you. We require a socket, right? We require a UUID to create this random string, right? This random number is generated using UUID. Now, we require socket.js so that people understand if new box needs to be shown or not, right? Uh, we need PRJS. For PRJS, we simply require Express peer server. We need to call that function and we need to put that called function inside the middleware over here, right? Just three lines for PRJS on the server side, right? If you want to use some variables, you can use EJS. You have to put it in app.set view engine as EJS. There are multiple view engines also. You can search for those, right? Then you have the public where you are serving the index.html, main.js, style.css, etc. from slash public, right? Then whenever you come to the link, you need to send the index.html, right? Then that pop-up that asks my name, right? That is calling slash join over here in index.html, that is calling slash join, right? It asked my name. When I entered, it goes to slash join. It comes here, it redirects me to a new meeting URL, right? The URL is slash join slash some random UUID. See, slash join slash some random UUID. Now, this slash join slash UUID needs to show the EGS file. Slash join slash some random UUID or the room ID need to show the EGS file with the name of room. So I have create room.ejs with the variable of room ID and my name. In this room ID, we have all the functionality. We have mute, we have stop video, we have mute, we have stop video, we have invite participants and leave meeting. Right? All these are calling functions which we are going to write in main.js. Okay. And new socket connection, whenever we are going to join, we are going to do everything in rooms, right? So on socket connection, we have to join a room with the room ID and we have to broadcast to every user that this person has joined Now create a new box like this with the name and the ID of the user, right? And tell the name of the specific user, and when disconnected, just broadcast that the user has been disconnected. Okay, this was all on the server side. Please go through the code. If it is still not clear, please revisit this video, especially in the last 2-3 minutes where I have revised everything, right? And we will create the front end part on the next lecture. You will have 1 day time to revisit everything and get your doubts cleared. Okay? Why debug true? So that we get whatever the errors are coming. Okay? How many connections? I'm not sure about that. Read the PHJS documentation for that. Okay? Chalo, this was all for today's class. I will meet you in the next lecture. Be consistent, be curious. Peace. I will meet you in the Mahasabha BC.